Although Revit does not perform structural analysis, it is engineering software nonetheless. Firms that are still using CAD or are simply using Revit as a drafting tool are struggling to realize that they're getting farther and farther behind within the industry. Using Revit the right way for structure means setting up Revit to actually be a BIM engine. By modeling elements while considering the analytical model saves countless hours drafting a design, remodeling it in an analysis program, and redrawing plans. Autodesk has now fully integrated robot structure, seamlessly integrate Revit to be a full-on design analytical application. In this LinkedIn learning course, I'll show you how to model a structure while considering the analytical model. We'll add foundations, steel, and lateral bracing. Then we're going to look at creating load cases, load combinations, and placing loads in our model. From there, we'll jump into robot structural analysis and pull in our Revit model. Before you start this course, make sure you own Robot Structural Analysis Professional. You can check by going to www.autodesk.com and log into your account. Also provided with this course is the downloadable .msi file you need to perform analysis checks right inside of Revit. It's called Autodesk Structural Analysis Toolkit for Autodesk Revit 2020.msi. Also, if you want to skip Chapter 1, I have provided the model to go along with the analysis portion of the course. I'd like to start this course with a model that we do together. It's not going to be all that complex, but we'll have enough built in to perform analysis in later chapters. In this video, I'd like to lay out levels and grids. Again, nothing fancy, I just want to be on the same page. In Revit, under Models, let's go to New. For the template file, click the drop-down here and select Structural Template, then click OK. Like I said, we're going to add levels and grids. I generally like to add my levels first. That way, when we add our grids, they'll extend to every level we have in there. It's just a little less labor. So to do that, let's go to our south elevation. We can scroll in on our south elevation and double-click the target. We have level 1, we have level 2. So if I select level 2, I'm going to increase that to 12 feet. We just click down to 10, type in 12, and we're good. And escape a couple of times. Right-click on level 2 and create similar. On the Draw panel, click the Pick Lines button. For the offset, let's go 5 inches. Let's offset level 2 down 5 inches. And escape a few times. Now, if we select level 3 here, we can click on the little elbow break. Try to get that out of the way. Grab this grip here. Drag this down a little bit. Move that over so it looks readable. Escape a few times. And we're going to rename this by clicking it and clicking it again. Let's call it level 2. E.O.S for coupled steel. Hit enter. Yes, we would like to rename corresponding views, so click yes. Right-click on level 2, create similar. On the Draw panel, click Pick Lines. Let's offset 12 feet. Offset level 2 upward 12 feet. That's funny, call it TOT. Select level 2 TOT. Click it again and call it Roof. Hit enter, you'll get the same warning, click yes. Let's make one more top of footing. Right-click on level 1, create similar. On the Draw panel, click Pick Lines. For the offset, let's go 6 feet. Offset level 1 down. Set level 2. Rename it to capital T, period, O, period, footing. Hit enter. Yes, we renamed corresponding views. Now let's go to level 1 structural plan. Go to the structure tab, click the grid button on the datum panel. I'm going to draw a line from here to about here. Select this. Let's turn on our show bubble. Great. Select grid line 1, click copy. Click constrain, click multiple. Pick a base point. Let's do 5 of them at 25 feet. So go straight this way, type 25, enter. 25, enter. 25, enter. One more, 25, enter. Right click on grid 1 and create similar. Pick a point here to here. Escape a few times. Select this column line. Let's turn on the bubble. I know I'm going a little bit quick. Click on the number 6. We want that to be a capital A. Escape a few times. Select the grid line A. Click copy. Constrain and multiple are both checked on. Pick a base point. Now it's come down 25 feet. 25 feet. 25 feet. Let's make one more, 25 feet. I'm going to make some adjustments. So I'll select column line 1. Just drag that down a little bit. Now if we go to our south elevation, we'll see that we've got our grids and we've got our levels. Click down to level 1. Go ahead and save this file. I'm going to save this file as structural. I'm going to save it into my exercise files folder. Then we're ready to go. Now for a quick foundation. Let's add a foundation complete with footings, piers, and pilasters. In Revit, I'm going to jump into my structural model. On the structural plans, I'm going to go to level 1. On the structure tab, I'm going to click wall. Now let's click our drop down here. Let's find foundation 12-inch concrete. Let's click edit type. Now let's duplicate this wall. And we will call this foundation 1 foot dash 6-inch concrete. And let's remove that little number 2. Click OK. Now for structure, let's click the edit button in the value column. Everything here is good for the thickness. Let's make that thickness 1 space 6. I type 1 space 6, it gives me 1 foot 6 inches. Let's click OK. Let's click OK. Now we're on level 1, so our depth, instead of unconnected, let's go to top of footing. Let's keep our location line based on wall center line. On the draw panel, click the rectangle button. Pick this intersection here. Let's pick this intersection here. Escape a couple of times. Excellent. Let's put a footing underneath this. In the project browser, let's jump down to top of footing. On the structure tab, go to the foundation wall icon. Wall bearing footing, click edit type. Now let's duplicate this. Let's call this bearing footing 2 foot 6 inches by 12 inches. Get rid of that number 2, click OK. For the width, I type in 2 space 6 and hit enter. Click OK. Now if you hover over one of your walls so it highlights it, hit your tab key once and then select it. It's going to put that footing right below it. Perfect. Hit escape a few times. Let's put in some piers and pilasters. On the structure tab, click the column button. For the column, click the drop down. We'll grab a concrete rectangular column. Grab 12 by 18, doesn't matter, we're going to change it anyway. Click edit type. Let's duplicate. Let's call that 2 foot dash 6 inch by 2 foot dash 6 inch. Click OK. B is 2 space 6. H is 2 space 6. Click OK. Now instead of depth, we want to change this to height. And that height wants to be to level 1. Now click at grids. Pick a window around your entire model so it selects all of the grid intersections. Click finish. Escape a few times. Now let's put some isolated footings underneath this and we are good to go. Click Isolated. For the footing rectangular, click Edit Type. Let's duplicate. And we're going to call this 3-foot dash 6-inch by 3-foot dash 6-inch by 12 inches. Get rid of the number 2, click OK. Foundation thickness is 1 foot. Width is 3 space 6. Length is 3 space 6. Click OK. Now click Add Columns. Pick a nice big box around your model. Click Finish. Escape a few times. Go to a 3D view. Beautiful. Notice that we have our walls, we have our columns, and we have our analytical lines in there. Obviously, we're going to take a good look at those in a later chapter. I'm going to go back down to level 1. Click Close Windows. Save it, and you are good to go. Now, time to move on to steel. In addition to our concrete foundation, we're going to have steel framing on our second floor and our roof. Of course, before we do that, we're going to have to add some columns. So let's do it. Let's add some columns. On the Structure tab, click the Column button. Instead of concrete rectangular column, click the drop-down. Let's select W-shaped column, W10 by 33. Let's make sure our height is set to level roof. Because we have such a simple layout, we can click Add Grids. Let's pick a window around our entire model so it selects all of our grids. Click Finish. Escape a couple times. Let's go to a 3D view. Notice what we've got here. We've now got columns buried on a pier or pilaster, buried on a footing. Notice that we have an analytical node that goes down through this. Select one of your columns. Revit knows that we have a wide flange column, but underneath it here, instead of structural columns, click the drop-down. Let's select analytical columns. Now look at all the different properties we get. Now we're thinking analytical. Let's scroll down until we find Member Forces. Click Edit. This is going to give you your end release, end reactions, your moment, your tip. All of your actual end forces are going to be displayed here. We can change those here, and we can also change those in other spots. We're not going to change anything now, so just hit Cancel. What I'd like to do is offset some of our top columns down a foot. Let's go to our roof level. Now, I'm going to pick a window by holding down my Control key. Make sure you go from left to right and come all the way down, and I want to pick these 5 columns. I know that I have 5 because down in my lower right-hand corner it says that I have 5. In my properties, I want to set my top offset, type in -1 and hit Enter. Hold down your Control key. Let's grab these columns here. Top offset, -1, hit Enter. Apply. Now if we go to a 3D view, we look straight at it, we can see now that we have some columns that are down a foot, and some that are up to the actual roof level. Go back down to your level 1 level. There you go. Now we just need to frame this in and add some floors. Here, I'd like to add all of our perimeter beams as well as our filler beams. The objective of this video is to add some framing to the second floor topless steel. Let's jump into Revit. Let's go to our structural model. In the project browser under structural plans, let's make sure we're in level 2 topless steel. On the Structure tab, let's click the beam icon. Let's click the drop down here. Let's select wide flange W14 by 30. Make sure 3D snapping is unchecked. On the multiple panel, click on grid lines. If we pick a window from the right to the left, notice I will select all of the grids. Now we can click Finish. Escape a few times, and there we go. Has them in there. Now let's go to Beam System on the Structure panel. Click Beam System. The beam type, let's grab W12 by 26. Let's go maximum spacing, say 5 feet. Make sure 3D is unchecked. I don't know why mine was checked on. And I like to have a system tag style. We need to go bay by bay, so I'm going to hover over this beam here. Pick it. It's going to drop it in. Let's do the same for all of our bays. There we go. Got them in. That's easy enough, right? Now let's add some roof joists. Hit save and you're good. Let's pitch our steel, shall we? In this video, I'd like to frame in the roof using pitched steel. Also, I'd like to add bar joists with a 2.5-inch joist seat. In here, Revit, let's jump into our structural model. Let's go up to our roof level. If you remember correctly, we set these columns down -1 foot. Notice we have top offset -1 foot. So the framing is not going to be as easy as it was on our second floor. That's okay, bear with me. Go to the Structure tab. Let's go to Beam. Let's select our W14 by 30 in our Type Selector dropdown. Now, make sure that you have 3D snapping turned on. We have to draw them one by one. Make sure that you are snapping to the point on your column. That way our analytical model will be joined. So click on Point. Point. Now, unfortunately, you have to hit Escape once, and then go Point to Point, Escape once, Point, Point, Escape once, Point, to Point, Escape once, and you get the picture. We're going to frame this whole thing in, doing exactly this. Don't copy these beams down. Make sure you're snapping point to point. I'm sure that if you snap it point to point, your analytical model will be connected. If you copy them down, it might be, but maybe not. I don't like to take those chances. As you can see, I get off track pretty quickly, so I'll keep filling them in. I'm going to go to a 3D view just to make sure everything is framed in nicely. And it looks like it is following that perfectly. Cool. Let's go back to our roof level. Let's go to Insert. Let's go to Load Family. Let's scroll down till we find Structural Framing. Let's find Steel. Let's grab K-Series bar joist angle web. Double click on that. And we'll bring a couple in. Select 12K5. Hold down your Control key. Select 14K6. And I don't know, select 16K7. And click OK. Now I want to frame in this bay with our joists. But before we do that, we need to set our beams down 2.5 inches. We know they're already at an odd angle, so by holding down your Control key, let's pick a window around here, around here, around here, and around here. Go to your filter button, Click check none. Let's select structural framing girder. Click OK. Scroll down till we find our Z offset value. Type in minus 2.5 inches. Enter. Apply it. Go to a 3D view. Now we'll see that they're at the angle, but now they're down to accept that joist. That's how you do that. Okay, next video, we're going to add those joists in there. Now that we have some sloped steel in our roof framing plan, what we need to do is add some bar joists. We loaded them in the last video, but now we need to put them in. But we need to make sure that they 3D snap to the proper spots. Let's open up our structural model. In our project browser under structural plans, let's go to roof. Now, what we need to do is on the structure tab, let's go to beam system. Beam type, let's click the drop down here and we will select 16K7. Layout rule will be maximum spacing, 5 feet, but let's make sure we have it snapping 3D. Now, if we hover over this W14 by 30 and pick it, hit escape a few times, I like to put one in and then check it in 3D just to make sure that it's correct. Let's go to our 3D view. Let's zoom in, and it looks about right. Zoom in here, make sure that's good. If you can't tell, let's click our visual style. We'll select shaded. Yep, that looks about right. Excellent. Now let's go back down to our roof level. Let's go to beam system. Let's fill in the rest of our bays. Easy as can be. It takes a little bit longer to add them, but that's fine. We're putting a lot of stuff in our model. Escape a couple times. Go to a 3D view. Pretty cool, huh? There we go. Save your model. That's how you add joists to a pitched roof. Okay, this should be easy. Here, I'd like to add a second floor as well as roof decking. We're going to cantilever the concrete 8 inches beyond the framing center line. Then we need to snap the roof deck to our framing. In Revit, let's open our structural model. The same, let's go to level 2 in the project browser. On the structure tab, click the floor button. Floor is 3-inch lightweight concrete on 2-inch metal deck, which is exactly what I want. On the draw panel, let's click pick supports. Now, I like to pick each one individually just to make sure we're in the right spot and we're picking all of our supports. You don't always have to do this, but I'm paranoid and I just do. Yeah. Skip a few times. Now each of these lines has their own properties. So if we pick a window from the left to the right, notice that we can cantilever the concrete. So it's cantilever, I think it's going to be minus 8 inches. Let's see. Good. So we want that black line to extend out. You escape a couple times. Let's pick a window around this one. I'm going to guess this is 8 inches without the minus. Let's see if I'm right. I was wrong. That's okay. Click the minus, hit enter. Pick a window around this one. This one's only 8 inches. 8 inches. Haha, I was right. Take this one right. And now let's pick a window around it. -8. -8 inches. Ah, it's only 8 inches. Beautiful. You just skip a couple times. Click finish. However, the parent you want, I like to just cut a section through here just to make sure that it's in the right spot. So click on the section icon. Put a section down through here. Let's double click on the section to open it up. Let's set our detail level to 5. I think we're good. Level 2 tab is stale. That's in addition to it. I think we're good to go. Okay, let's go to our roof level. This one won't be as easy. On the Structure tab, click the Floor button. For this one, I simply want to go to 8.5-inch metal roof deck. Pick supports. Do the same thing we did down below, but unfortunately, by doing this, it's not going to actually slope our floor to these supports. We're going to have to do that manually. Just give a couple times. Quick finish. Let's go back down to level 2. Let's open that section up. We grab this and just extend it up so we can see our roof. And yeah, that's all over the place. So here's what we're going to do. Go to a 3D view. And see how we're way off here, right? It's okay. Let's set our visual style to wireframe. Select your floor. Now click Pick Supports. What we're going to do is we're going to come down through. I know it's kind of hard to see, but we're going to click all of our framing members to snap our roof to them. Every one of them. So that's doing it. Go right down through the entire thing. It's this guy here. You get the ends. We need to get these as well. See how it's starting to create a grid? It's how you can verify that you've picked everything correctly. On down through. I'm never sure if I miss one or not. Get in there. Let's make sure we hit these ends. Then there's these ones. Yeah, I think we got them all. Let's set our visual style to shaded. It looks like we've got it. Now what we're going to see is this. That's fine. This is our analytical plane. This is going to be following where that roof was. That's exactly what we want. You want that to happen. Notice that this will extend up to the analytical plane. And our roof deck is sitting right where we want it. Right? This is down a little bit here because of our joists. So joists are in there. If we set our detail level to 5, we'll see that that's the condition that we want to have. Perfect. Hit save. That's how you add floors. One more thing I'd like to do then, we're done framing this thing in. I want to add a penthouse. I want to do that, however, with independent stub columns coming from the roof level up 6 feet to our penthouse. To do that, let's jump into Revit, and of course, we're going to climb into our structural model. In our project browser, let's go to our south elevation. Woohoo, that looks good, doesn't it? Okay. Let's right-click on the roof level and create similar. On the drop panel, let's click on Pick Lines. Let's make that offset be 6 feet. Offset the roof level up. Hit escape a few times. Select level 2. Top of the. Click into it, rename it Penthouse. It should be all uppercase, but we started at upper lower, so we'll stick with that. Yes, let's rename the corresponding views. Beautiful. Let's go to our roof level by double clicking on our thing here. I guess I'll put it here. I want to actually put it right on top of the columns that we already have there. So let's go ahead and click on the column button. Let's make sure our height is set to penthouse. Let's put one here. Let's put one here. Let's put one here. Put one here. Let's skip a few times. Let's go to a 3D view. Now these are sitting on top of that slab, which is not going to work. So what we need to do is just extend these bases down 1 foot. So hold on your control key. Select that column. Select that column. Let's make sure our base offset is -1. Hit enter. There we go. Now we know that our analytical model is extending right down. Let's go to our penthouse plan. And then let's go to beam. Let's grab our W14 by 30. Tag on placement. Go from here to here. 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 Just skip a few times. Let's go with beam system. 12 by 26 is good. Maximum spacing 5 feet. Nothing's pitching or anything, so that works. I'm going to hover over this area here. Pick that. Hit escape a few times. Go to a 3D view. Here we go. We have a penthouse. Now the issue is we have analytical planes. We have everything connecting. These are probably too small. So what we're going to do now is start getting into the analytical model. So it doesn't matter what view we're in. If we go to structure, notice that we have our little settings arrows here. Under structure, let's click on this setting arrow here. Now we have symbolic representation settings. Most of these are pretty standard. So for example, if we have a brace, we're going to give it a cutback of 3/32 of an inch. That's if our detail level is set for coarse. Same with the beams and trusses. Columns are a little less at 1/16 of an inch. Brace symbol. So plan representation, I like parallel line, but we'll model some braces in a moment. We'll see what that looks like. Show brace above, show it below. I like that connection brace parallel. I like the brace kicker. We can always load different families or symbols into our model or into our template and use those instead. This is out of the box Revit, so these are the two we have. I use them. Connection symbols, display symbols, beams and braces. We could display symbols like columns as well. I like beams and braces. We can add a moment frame, which is basically a little filled triangle. Cantilever moment, which is very similar. Let's click OK. Let's go to our level 2 structural plan. Zoom into this area right here between 2 and 3. On the View tab, click the Elevation drop-down. Let's go to frame elevation. Notice that if we hover over this grid line, which happens to be grid line E, we're going to get a framing elevation. So go ahead and pick that. Hit escape a few times. Now to open this elevation, we can simply double click right on this text. Let's set our detail level to fine. Let's set our scale to something a little bigger. We'll go to 1/4 inch equals a foot. Now on the structure tab, let's click the brace icon. And let's click our drop down here. And let's grab an HSS 6x6x1/2. Now, as we model this brace, I want to make sure that we're hitting the analytical endpoint of our beam right here, the center line of it. So let's click on this endpoint here. Now, I want to find the midpoint right here. Do the same on this side. Click that endpoint there. And let's click that midpoint there. Escape a couple times. Now let's go back to level 2. Notice that we get this. This indicates where our actual braces are. Cool. If we go to our roof level, shows it outside, indicating that it's below. If we go back to our structural settings, that's what we have shown. Show brace above, show brace below. These are our symbols. Click OK. I want to go to a 3D view. Let's zoom in on our items. Looks like these analytical lines are a little bit off. Let's look at those in the next video.